acknowledging that Democrats have moved the goalposts on what it would require to bring us to this point and to harm our nation and to distract us so much from the critical needs of American people who probably wonder why we're not focused on them right now. First, they told us this has to be bipartisan. Now, I get folks watching at home might think that I'm somebody who really likes the president. I would probably be a hard vote for him to get for impeachment. But it's not just that they can't convince the president's supporters not to abandon him. They can't even convince the president's critics to abandon him. I mean, Jeff Van Drew, Colin Peterson, 2 members of Congress, 2 Democrats, they're not fans of the president, they're critics of the president. And yet they didn't vote with Democrats, they voted with Republicans. We've even got some Republicans. My colleague Will Hurd from Texas, he doesn't mind being a critic of the president, and he was honest with Democrats. He told them, this is not impeachable conduct. They told us that the process would be fair. And yet, when even members of this committee sought the opportunity not to read a transcript or see someone's second performance of their testimony, but to see their firsthand account, how they reacted, how they were breathing, did they fidget when they responded? We wanted to see those things, and we were excluded by the Intelligence Committee. Democrats said that to put our country through this, it would require compelling and overwhelming evidence. And each and every time they try to cast doubt on the president's conduct, we are able to show a legitimate concern the president had in corruption. We are able to cite the transcript that demonstrates no conditionality. And time and again, Democrats say, well, there's just no factual debate about what the president did. The factual debate comes from President Zelensky. It's President Zelensky who said, I wasn't pressured. And they said, oh, well, Zelensky might not have known, but Yermak, he knew. Sondland talked to Yermak and conveyed this shakedown. And the very day they introduced articles of impeachment, Yermak gives an interview and says, we never really perceived this as an exchange of military aid for any one thing. Time and again, they let us down in their claims. But one thing we know for certain is that this was a sad inevitability. I had someone ask me recently, do you feel some sense of history, some sense of moment that you're about to vote on impeachment? And sadly, I knew this time was coming since the Democrats took control of the House of Representatives, because they didn't lay out a plan to appropriate for the budget, work with us on critical generational issues. They set out a plan for impeachment. How do we know that? When the chairman himself campaigned for the lead Democrat role in the Judiciary Committee, he didn't say, pick me because I'm a great legislator around some particular issue set. He said, pick me because I will be the person that can best lead our caucus through a potential impeachment. They've had a bloodlust for impeachment. It has been their obsession, and it's deeply saddening to us. We take absolutely no joy in the fact that it is so consuming. But here we stand on the verge of it, and my expectation is that this new standard in this second article with just the notion of obstruction of Congress is their excuse for not being able to prove obstruction of justice. Public reporting has been out saying the chairman went to the Democratic caucus and sought support to bring an article for obstruction of justice and couldn't get their support. So now here we are with obstruction of Congress, sort of the low-energy version of the obstruction of justice claim that they wanted. They hoped they were going to be able to convict and accuse and evidence some claim on bribery. That's what their pollsters and pundits told them would be best. As they solemnly tell us, this is sad to them. They were out polling what lexicon, what word choice would help them make the case to the American public. And so they settle on bribery. You all in the media heard it. You heard them on every show talk about, oh, this is the new standard, Speaker Pelosi speaking in this new language. And then we asked the witnesses, were you a part of bribery? Did you see bribery? And the evidence wasn't there. And so instead of bribery, instead of treason, extortion, you have abuse of power, the low-energy version. I'm disappointed in my colleagues, but probably even those who don't support the president would share that disappointment in this very moment. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I recognize Mr. Reschenthaler for the purpose